Hey guys, it's Jessica at Seeds Insanity, and I wanted to take a quick minute to talk to you today about sunflowers. This is our first time ever growing sunflowers. Honestly, I can't even believe that I'm like 40 years old. Well, not yet, not until August, but I'm like 40 years old and I have never grown a sunflower before. I don't know how that's possible, you guys, but it's the truth. So we grew a few different kinds. Now we did start ours in seed trays. We had started probably like 5 different varieties. But what ended up happening is that our seed trays kind of got destroyed by my youngest, and we ended up losing most of those seedlings and just having a few left, and they were random. We had no idea what we were putting in the ground, so it's been an adventure to kind of see what comes up. Anyway, I have a couple of sunflowers who the main head, so sunflowers usually come in one of two ways. You either get a single bloom, like this one is going to be, it's considered a mammoth sunflower, and so that's going to be a single bloom, or sometimes you get them where you get multiple blooms. So you'll get one bloom head, that'll be a larger bloom, and then you'll get several other blooms that'll happen usually at every leaf junction, sometimes a couple around that first main head. So those you might get blooming flowers for, a month or two. So we have a couple of those, and because part of growing the sunflowers was not only for their beauty, but also to eat the seeds for us or for our chickens. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut a couple of those heads off of our multi-blooming sunflowers, and so we can get them into dry. Let's go check them out. All right, so this pretty lady is actually, I think this was probably the American Giant. I'm not sure, but it's really pretty. It's just opened up actually today or yesterday, I guess. Today it's fully opened, and it's so beautiful. I love it. This one's actually as tall as I am. This is some of our multi-blooming variety. So you'll see, and I'm just gonna pick this head up here. You'll see that this head was the initial large bloom, and then it went ahead and put off several other blooms coming right off of the stem. You can see some new ones coming on, some buds down there. So what I'm after right now is right up here. So a couple ways to tell when this is getting ready. The head, some people say just when the head is hanging over. So much weight is created by the making of those seeds that, if a plant stem is weak, or sometimes it's, just kind of a big flower, or maybe it wasn't the strongest, healthiest stalk, it can really take the whole plant over. So that's what this one did. Another thing we can look for is on the back of the sunflower. You see how the flesh here of this flower back is very pale. It was at one point very green, and then it turned yellow, and it's very pale now. So that's another indicator that it's time for us to cut this off. If you haven't ever looked closely at a sunflower before, you might think that that big, beautiful bloom you saw was the flower. In reality, the petals that you see around the outside, like on this one, these are actually false petals. So they are not actually a true flower petal. The flowers themselves are actually each teeny tiny little blossom in here, and that is why you get a seed behind each one of those. So if we go back to our big sunflower, let's see if we can get a good look at that. You can see that these are tiny, tiny flowers who are all gonna bloom out and produce a seed behind each one. So we've got our false petals, and then the actual flowers are all those little ones making up the spaces where we're gonna get our seeds. So ultimately, when these are ready, what's gonna happen is all of this is gonna die and fall off. So you can see that all of our petals have already browned out and fallen off. The back of this one is very pale, and you can clearly see that the seeds are well forming in there. There's some nice big sunflower seeds. Now you can kind of brush your finger across here, and all of those little flowers themselves will start to just pop right off. You see that? That's the actual, see if I can get in there a little better. There we go, that might be better. That's each of the individual little flowers. So I can kind of just go through here. This one's definitely looking ready to go, because look at those just falling right out. So the seeds are staying behind, and the little flowers are just coming right off of there. So this one is definitely looking good and ready to go. Did you know, I didn't know, I just found out, that about 50% of, or more, actually 50 to 70% of the water content in a sunflower is all up in that bloom. So there's a lot going on up there. I'm gonna go ahead and clip this one off and then we'll go look for another one. When you cut these off, especially if you've got one of these plants that has extra blooms on it, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut right above that first bloom. I'm trying to leave myself enough stalk to hang this up so that it can dry out really well. But I'm gonna put the phone down because it's gonna be a little tough to cut through. I might use my knife and I'll need 2 hands. 1 second. Right, so there she is. This was not a ginormous flower. Oftentimes when you get the ones that have branching flowers, they're not going to be as big as those mammoths where it's just putting out one giant sunflower head. So I'm just going to go ahead and brush off the rest of these little tiny flowers off of here. And yeah, this looks really good. I'm so excited. The chickens are going to love it. And you know, we might roast some of this for ourselves too. So there we go. That is beautiful. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to cut this leaf off of here just to, you know, remove anything or any bugs or anything might want to get to. And I'm just going to string them up like this and hang it to dry. So let me go and find the other one. Let's see where that is. This one's just a really small one. I don't see any additional flowers coming in on this one at all. It was a really small, spindly little stalk back here. I see no signs of other blooms, and this is browning out really well. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this guy and take this one too. Now, because there's no other flowers on this one, I'm just gonna go back there and pull that stalk right out of the ground. Sunflowers can actually be used as a cover crop, and you could actually chop that up and till it right back into the ground to give some biomass to your soil, but I don't actually have the space for that, so I'm gonna just pull mine out. So this was just a little tiny one, definitely browned and ready to go. Look at that. So not a big one at all here, but you know, that's okay. They can't all be big, and this was our first time growing them. The seeds in here are super tight together. I don't think this is going to be as good as the other one. I think this plant obviously was very stunted. Couple things I've learned about sunflowers, they do have some kind of higher fertility rates. Now they'll pretty much grow and keep growing pretty well, but they do actually need some nitrogen to get big and leafy green and have enough to support these big heads. So probably these were a little lacking on nutrients because I put them in like right after I had planted some other things. Look at this one. I've been waiting for this one to open up, and I'm so excited that this is going to be a multi-bloomer. I don't even care if it gives me, you know, seeds of any nature, but the color on this is just stunning. And look, you can see all these different places where we're going to have additional blooms. So I love how darkly colored that stem is. It's just so pretty. So, oh, there's our other head here. Let's see if this one's ready. That looks really good, you guys. Look at those nice big fat sunflower seeds. All right, so the petals have, whoops, sorry guys. The petals have died off. The back has turned yellow. Interesting thing. So, you know, we are going to be not able to tend our garden for about a week or two, and I could leave these out here to completely dry off on the plant, but if I do, I run the risk that something else is going to get to these before I do, right? So maybe a bird, maybe some squirrels, maybe, God forbid, a rat. So I really don't want to leave these here. So even though this is nice and pale and yellow, but it's not really brown yet, I can still go ahead and cut this off, and I can still go ahead and hang this inside and let it finish drying inside. That's not going to hurt anything, especially if you guys are growing any of those mammoth sunflowers and you really want to make sure that you get to that before, you know, the critters do. Then you may want to do that once you see that it's, you know, over and starting to droop. About that, my alarm went off. You might just want to take a peek and decide to cut those down if you're really after all those seeds before something else gets them. So let me go ahead and get this guy cut off of here. And I'm pretty happy. It looks like we might have one more little head that we can take. So let's cut this off. Bloop. All right. Wow, that one really snapped back the second I got all that extra weight off of it. And I thought I saw another one over here. Did I? Yes, I did. Again, not a very big one, but still sunflower seeds. Yep, there they are, and looking nice and brown in here. Excellent, excellent. All right, guys, that's it for me today. Sunflowers will pretty much grow year-round here in Florida, so go ahead and plant you some. And what I would probably do is throw some seeds out, let them grow, and then, you know, maybe go back a month or so later and throw some more out there and keep those sunflowers coming, right? Succession plant those suckers and let them just keep coming and keep blooming. This might be a new fun way for us to provide more yummy foods for our chickens. And here, this is another great thing about our sunflowers. The bees love them. Every morning when I come out here, I see at least 4 different species of bees, at least. And it's really awesome. So yeah, that's it for me tonight. I just wanted to show you the sunflowers. I hope you guys are doing great, and we'll talk to you later.